Hi, for lesson 5 and 6, we're going to be creating an e-card in After Effects. So what you need to do is go to the OneDrive and download the needed files for lesson 5 and 6 before we get started. Once you are ready, then you're going to go ahead and open up After Effects and you're going to go to New Project. For this lesson, we're going to use files that we already have to create our new composition. So first we need to import everything. Now we are going to be importing one different type of file that we haven't before, and that's going to be a PSD file that already has layers to it. That way, whenever we create this video, we can use that layered file, which is a bunch of balloons, and we can use them as individual layers in our timeline. So you're going to start off by right-clicking, import, and file. And you're going to go to where you have these saved at. Okay, and like I said, this first one's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to choose the 5 balloon layers. And instead of leaving this as footage right here, we're going to import as, and we're going to do composition retain sizes. And then hit import. It's now going to give you a pop-up screen and it's going to say import kind. You want to make sure that says composition retain layer sizes and make sure it says editable layer styles right here and hit OK. You'll now see in your project panel that 1, you have a composition right here, but 2, you also have a folder. Inside of that folder is going to be all of your balloons. The first thing I want you to do is we're going to go ahead and rename these so that it makes sense when we start using them later. So what I want you to do is click on the first one, which is called layer 2, right click, and in the drop down you're going to do rename. And we're going to name this one blue 1. We're going to continue down the list and just name it the second one blue 2, and then yellow 1, yellow 2, green 1, green 2. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, once you get them all named, they'll be ready for us to use in just a few minutes in our timeline. But now we need to go back and upload the rest of the images that we need. So again, right click, import, and file. This time though, you can go ahead and select the other 2 layers that are the other 2 files that we need at the same time. So I'm going to click on the happy birthday song. I'm going to press and hold shift, and I'm going to click on the pig video. So that now both of them are selected. We want import as and leave it as footage. And you're going to go ahead and hit import. Now you'll see you have these 2 videos over here as well. I'm sorry, 2 files. The first one is actually a audio soundtrack, so it's going to have music in it. And the second one is a video. Since we are creating a video, this pig video is already set to the size that we want. So we're just going to click on it and we're going to drag it down to our timeline to create our new composition. You'll see up here that the composition is now called 5 pig video, and it has this little icon next to it that's like a white square with these little colorful dots in it. And that's what we're going to be working in. You're going to right click on it, go to composition setting, and you're going to name this your last name in lesson 5. We're also going to make a change right here. You can see that right now we're set at HDV HDTV 7/20/25. We actually want it to be at 2997. So that's the one right above it. That's going to fix our width and our height. We want it to be at 0 for our start time code, and we're going to change our duration to 20 seconds. Now, the easiest way to do that is you could just type in 2000 because, again, it's hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. And so 2000 would actually be 2 seconds. If you don't want to do it that way, you can just go back in and change the numbers individually. And then we're going to hit OK. Now you'll see our compositions up here. You'll see that our video is ready to go. If you hit your space bar, you'll actually make your pig start walking. Sometimes it takes it a second. It may have to run all the way through the video once before it actually works correctly. Now, I'm going to press my home key just to get back to the beginning. Now, the problem is right now we're only showing up to 10 seconds and we need to show the full 20 seconds. So down here on the bottom, you're going to see a little mountain and a big mountain. This is your zoom in and zoom out. And we want to go ahead and zoom out. So we're going to pull your little slider bar right here to the left. Now you can see everything that's going on. Okay, and I did make one little mistake. Instead of having a 20-second composition, we only want it to be 10. So we're going to come back up here to our project panel, right-click on the composition settings, and we're just going to go back and change our duration to 10 seconds. So 1000, and hit OK. Now you can see if you were to watch the video or just to look at your timeline, you now have this blank area over here. That means our video is not long enough. So we're going to, in this case, we just want to keep the pig walking. And the video is fortunate enough that we can just overlap it a little bit and he will continue to walk. So what you're going to do is go ahead and go back up to your timeline or up to your project panel and click on the 5 pig video, and we're just going to drag it down and drop it right in the timeline again. Now, all we have to do is click on this little part of the timeline and just drag, click and hold and drag it to the right-hand side and line it up with the end. Now, if you watch your video, you'll see he just continues to walk. Fortunately, like I said, they overlap each other really, really well, so you can't even see a mistake in it. Now we're going to go ahead and lock these 2 layers. You have the option to lock over here on the left-hand side. You see the little padlock right here. We're going to lock both of these layers just because we have them the way we want them and we don't want to mess with them and have any accidents. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding these balloons. So I'm going to click on the first balloon, which is the blue 1 balloon, and I'm going to drag it down here. I'm going to put it on the top of my timeline. Now I want to create the effect of it floating up. So I'm going to Control and minus so I can zoom out just a little bit so I have a little extra room around it. And I'm going to drop the drop down options next to the layer. So right here where this little arrow is, I'm going to do a drop down. You see transform, and I'm going to do a drop down again. Now you have this balloon here, and what we're going to do is we're going to move it and we're going to scale it. So I'm going to pull it down here and to the left. So now my position is set where I want it, but I want to take my scale down to 50%. And I'm going to hit tab, and you'll see my balloon gets a little bit smaller. I want it to move up just a little bit, so I'm going to reposition it again. Now I have it down in this bottom corner. So now I'm going to set it there, so that is our starting point. So make sure your time indicator is over to the left-hand side, your header. You're going to click position, the little stopwatch, and you're going to click the stopwatch next to scale. That's going to give you a keyframe in both of those areas and let it know that's where we want to start off at. Okay, now we're going to go to the 2-second mark. We want it to take about 2 seconds for this balloon to float here to the top. So now I'm going to change my scale to 100%. Because I moved to the 2-second frame, it's not going to affect what I did in the original. But I'm going to type in 100% and I'm going to hit the tab button on my keyboard. That's going to set a new keyframe and you can see it right there. Now using my selection tool, I'm just going to grab that balloon and I'm going to pull it up and off the top of my screen where I want it to fly to and let it go. You'll see that now the position also has a second keyframe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my home button. So I'm back on the first frame, and then I'll push my space bar and you can see that balloon float up and off. Okay, let's do it again. So now I'm going to close the drop down next to the blue balloon. I'm going to move my header to the 1-second mark. This time I'm going to grab my green balloon and I'm going to drag it down and put it on the top of the stack. Again, I'm going to open up my transform panel. I'm going to move the balloon down somewhere below. I'm going to change my scale to 50% and then again move the position so that it lines up with the bottom of the image. Now, with being on the 1-second frame, that's when this balloon will start. So I want to click the position and the scale keyframes to set those two keyframes, and you can see them right there. I'm going to scroll to the 3-second mark. I'm going to change my scale to 100% and hit tab. And then I'm going to click on it and drag it to where I want it to float up again. Okay, so now again, you can see these two little keyframes right here in the 3-second mark. And then I have the 2 under the 1. So this balloon will start at the 1-second mark. So my blue balloon will start at the 0 mark. When it's about halfway up at that 1 second, then the green balloon will start coming up. And then by the time it's done, the green balloon will be halfway up. And then it will be all the way up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my home key and I'm going to hit play again so you can watch the balloons go up. Now you're just going to go ahead and continue to do that with the rest of the balloons. So you have 4 more balloons to go. I'm going to do them at every 2 seconds. If you want to do them at a different pace, you are free to do that. Okay, now I've got all my 6 balloons set where I want them to float up. And what I did was I hit the home key again, and now I'm going to hit the space bar so that you can watch the balloons all float up. Okay, because of the way I spaced them, all my balloons are up at the top of the screen by about the 7-second mark. The next thing I want you to do is we're going to go ahead and put a happy birthday on here. So I'm going to go all the way back to my 0 screen. And I'm going to go right here where mine says 25%. And I'm going to do the little drop down arrow, and I'm going to create go to fit so that it fits on my screen. At the top of my screen, I'm going to hit my, I'm going to choose my text tool, which is the giant T. And then anywhere on your screen, I'm going to go right here and I'm going to type the words happy birthday. Now we're going to make a change to this in a minute, so it doesn't really matter if it's exactly where you want it or not. We just need to type it in. Now you can use your selection tool and select the entire thing. And you can change it to whatever color you want. You even have the option, if you click on the color, you can grab the little eyedropper here and you can change it to be the same color as something on the screen if you want, or you can change it to any color. You can also change your font. Don't worry about the size right now. We're about to adjust that anyway. Now, once you get it to the size you want, go ahead and do your drop down to reveal your transform options. This time we're going to do 3 different things. We're going to mess with the position, we're going to mess with the scale, and we're also going to mess with the opacity. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to click on the corner here and press and hold shift, and you're going to shrink it down pretty small. I'm going to go down to about 8%. Then you have to make sure you click between these squares, and you can click it and drag it and move it to where you want it. And I'm going to put it right inside my pig's mouth. Now, I actually don't want you to be able to see this right now either. So I'm going to start my opacity off at 0%. Now, we have the position, we have the scale, and we have the opacity, but we need to set them on the right spot. So make sure you're at your 0 on your timeline. Select position. Select the key scale for the key frame for scale and the key frame for opacity. So now if we were to play the video, you wouldn't even see any of this, but we want it to come out and be really big by the end of the video. So now I'm going to go and press my N key. It's up by your delete, or you can move your playhead all the way to the end. And then by the time it's at the end, I want it to be full capacity. I want the words to be large, and I want to adjust my position so that it makes sense on the screen with those options. So I'm going to go ahead and change my opacity to 100%, and remember to hit tab. That's what sets your keyframe. Scale, I'm going to start pressing my scale up until I get it to the size that I want it. So it looks like I'm going to be, I'll go to about 190. And then I simply select it and move it to where I want it to be in the frame. Okay, so the way I want this to work now, I'm going to go to home and I'm going to let this play so you can see what it does. And again, remember, if it pauses at all, it could be because it has to render through one time, and then the second time it'll play through just fine. Okay, so you've created yourself an e-card now. So the next thing we got to do is we're going to go ahead and close this one so we can see everything that's on here. I want you to go ahead and do File and Save. File, Save As. save this to wherever your pig video and your balloon PSD file are, so that you have everything together so it doesn't mess it up. And then we're going to save it. So remember to save it as your last name and lesson 5. Hit save. Okay, that's your AEP file. That's your After Effects file. So now we need to go up to Composition, Add to Adobe Media Encoder. It's going to open your Media Encoder. Again, remember, it may take it a second to do so. Once it does, you want to check these. Since we've already set these for lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4, you should already be set to the correct numbers, but double check them. So right here would be H264. Under your preset, you want YouTube 720 HD. And under this last one, you're going to go ahead and open it, and you're going to find where you want to save it to. Mine is in my After Effects folder. I have it named as Niehaus L5, and I'm going to hit save. Now, once you've set all these numbers, you'll see that this little green arrow pops up here, and you're going to click it. It may take it a second to render, but again, remember that while it's rendering, that you look down here and make sure your video looks normal. If you see the stripes like an old TV set, that means something's not saved correctly, and you need to go back and fix that. Then once that is done rendering, you'll be able to find that video where you saved it at. You can then click on it and watch the video itself. You will be turning in that MP4 video, so you want to turn in the video that actually looks like a little clip of the video, not the AEP file. You want to make sure you're turning this one into me. And if you have any questions, please shoot me an email or let me know, and we will get it worked out for you.